as we march ever closer to the Olympic Games here in late winter, we make a pit stop here in Minnesota, in St. Paul at Grand Casino Arena, where the Minnesota Wild are playing host to the Montreal Canadiens, as we are set for action in front of a packed house. Sit back and enjoy this one as we are underway here from St. Paul. Kaprizov takes over in neutral ice. Zuccarello tried to bring it in. He gets cut off by Caulfield as we are underway. Zuccarello back up to the point in favor. Inside, Kaprizov has it flip high off the windows and stay in play for Montreal to exit the zone. Suzuki drops it off. Texier button hooks back up to the point. Dobson, now Matheson. Caulfield one-time try off a body in front. That was Kaprizov who got in front of it. Here he comes the other way. Kaprizov drops it off. Zuccarello inside, intercepted by Dobson. Suzuki gets it out for Montreal. Pestered in neutral ice. Caulfield with a bobble, turns it over to Zuccarello up ahead. Yurov tried to get around Dobson. Good stick from behind. Boldy keeps it alive for Minnesota. Hughes now into the slot. Couldn't get a clean shot off. And here comes Kapanen here for Montreal. Goes to the outside. Kapanen back behind the net. Looking for a place to go. And Matheson snared by Gustafsson. And our first stoppage of the game comes just under 2 minutes in. And our first shot on goal belongs to the Canadiens. Faceoff controlled by Minnesota. Goldie will bring it out of the zone here for the Wild. Looking for a center. Flips it inside. Intercepted by Hudson. Nearly a turnover in the slot, but the Canadiens get it out. Here's Kapanen outside. Demidov. Good stick by Spurgeon, and out of the zone it comes. Johansson now nearly broke it through, and he flips it deep into the Montreal end. (31-17-8) are the Canadiens coming into play today. Minnesota 33-14-10. They're among the NHL's best this season. Currently, if you look at the standings, the Minnesota Wild are in second in the Western Conference. Behind Colorado, who's taken the league by storm with 36 wins on the season. Here's a turnover inside, score! Bolduc takes it in, and Montreal strikes first. Bad spot for a turnover right in the crease. The disrupted pass floats inside, and Montreal takes advantage 1-0. So a good start for Montreal here on the road. That quiets this crowd early here in St. Paul. Bolduc the goal. Canadiens take the lead here early in this one. Blaise right back in. Pestered in the inside by Middleton. Minnesota will get it out. Here's Tarasenko, who floats it in deep. Back there first. Foligno now for Montreal. Beck pinned along the corner. Middleton has it. Whiffed on the shot attempt, trying to get it through, and it floats into the grasp of Montreal. Blaise feeds it in. Broke his stick on that play as well. Middleton gets hit. Another turnover. Foligno off of Gustafsson, back behind the net. Bogosian, Tarasenko, and they'll get it out to Eriksson Ek. Eriksson Ek centers it to the other side, and Treinen couldn't get a clean shot off. Pestered on the top of the point, and Montreal will get it out. Demidov, along the broken stick, takes it in, and denied by Gustafsson. Face-off controlled by Minnesota in their own end. Faber dangles in his own end, back to Hughes. Hughes gets hit hard. Gets back up, stays alive for a moment. Minnesota trying to get it out of their zone. They will to Foligno for a moment. And they get it out. Treinen Skates his way around one man, centers it to the inside, and it floats on net. Montalban stops playing with 14 and a half to go. Foligno couldn't get a clean shot off the face-off win, and now here comes Montreal. Dobson drops it off inside, bobbled and taken away by Minnesota. Foligno can't handle it. As it tries to get into the zone, Montreal takes over. Here's Caulfield. Caulfield surrounded by Wild, floats it to the outside, taken away by Broder. Kaprizov turns back for Minnesota. He gets hit, turns it over. A shot denied by Gustafsson. Back behind the net. Into the trapezoid, knocked down, kept in by Carrier. Blaise now fires off a body in front. Kaprizov has the puck. He skates ahead for Minnesota. Kaprizov button hooks back, centers it to Spurgeon. He loses it on the doorstep. Broden couldn't get one off. And Montreal back the other one. Blaise poked away by Trinan out of the zone. Hinstroza brings it up for Minnesota. Broden inside. Kaprizov shot. Gloved down by Montalban. No further play. 12:44 to go in the period. Face-off control by the Wild. Bogosian lets it fly, and Montalban finds that one. Kapanen wins the face-off. Jack-Eye out to Demidov. Middleton takes it away. Here for Montreal. Eriksson bobbles to Boldy. A shot stick to Saad. Comes to the near side. Minnesota on the attack. A lot of bodies in the corner. Kept out by Montreal, and they get it out of the zone. Demidov to the other side. Slavkovsky. Taken away by Middleton on his way in. Eriksson up ahead to Boldy. Can't handle it. Bogosian keeps it alive. Back to Middleton. Middleton pester on his way in. Here's Jacka. Suzuki to the outside, and Velino. Velino tried to get it inside to Jack-Eye, who couldn't handle the pass, and Minnesota brings it back the other way. Eriksson 2-on-1, downstairs off the goalpost, and out of play, offsides, as Tarasenko couldn't keep it in. Man, Minnesota was right there on the doorstep, and he hits it off the pipe, and it deflects into the neutral zone, forcing an offside. Face-off controlled by Montreal. Texier inside Suzuki. Poked away into the inside. Goes back behind the net. Quinn Hughes. Up ahead, Tarasenko. He delivers a blow. Hartman feeds it in deep for Minnesota. And Stroza gets knocked down by Matheson. Montreal gets it out. Dobson up ahead. 3-on-2 opportunity. Caulfield inside. Dobson shot. Gloved down by Gustafsson. .26 to go in the opening period. Face-off controlled by Minnesota. Quinn Hughes pinned along the boards by Velino. Back behind the net, Hughes keeps it alive. Faber now exits to Urov. To the outside, back to Faber. Inside, Zuccarello can't handle it. Velino floats it in deep. Over halfway through this opening period, 1-0 lead for the Canadiens. Here on the road in St. Paul, Minnesota. Kaprizov up ahead, center Zuccarello, whipped on the shot. Carrier takes over in the slot. Montreal will exit once again. Hudson cross ice to Beck. He gets hit on his way in, turns it over to Quinn Hughes. Urov gets hit. Faber gets it out. Kaprizov up top. To the other side, Zuccarello bobbles and turns it over. Pindle on the boards is Hudson. A lot of bodies in there. Urov escapes the pack with it. Up to the point, kept in by Hughes. Urov back up. Bogosian lets it fly. Tip try out in front, blocked. Never got through. And Montreal takes over. Kapanen up ahead to Bulda, who has the lone goal in this game. Skates his way around, drops it off. Gallagher, inside score! Montreal off to a 2-0 start. here in St. Paul as they get that one past Gustafson, as Brendan Gallagher makes it 2-0. Right down the slot, just back and forth, made Gustafson think about it. Fake to the right, fake to the left, go back to the right. And Gallagher puts it in to make it 2-0 Canadians. Just got Gustafson off balance. 2-0 start for Montreal here on the road. Face-off controlled by Minnesota. 2-0 start for the Canadians here in St. Paul. Sturm couldn't get a clean shot off. Good play by Deneau. Golder taking it wide. Good stick by Bogosian. Back behind the net. Gallagher pokes it as it floats along the half wall, and Middleton brings it up to Sturm. Sturm, good play by Dobson on his way in. Here's Philip Deneau. Deneau button hooks back to Matheson. Tried to get it to the inside, and now an errant pass. Floats out of the zone, and icing is called with 7:36 to go in the opening period. Kapanen will face off against Sturm. Minnesota wins the face-off. Back behind their own net, Bogosian. And now, nearly a turnover. Middleton escapes it from harm's way. And the Wild finally get it out. Trying into the near side. This is Foligno who gets tripped. Penalty called. And a power play upcoming for Minnesota. And a much-needed power play here in this opening period. It's on Jackeye, who just poked his stick out. Easy call for the official right there. So Jackeye goes to the penalty box for 2 minutes, and a man advantage here for the Wild, trying to get on the board. Face-off in the Montreal end. Power play for Minnesota. They win the face-off. Kaprizov fires, blocked down. Comes to the near side, and Hartman tried to feed it in. Good block by Carrier. Hartman keeps it alive. Out to Johansson. Up top, Matheson, one-timer, can't get it through. Kept in by Johansson. Quinn Hughes denied by Montembeault. No further play. Minute 38 to go on the man advantage here for Minnesota. Montreal wins the faceoff. Hudson tried to clear. Good stick by Hartman. Keeps it inside. Kaprizov whiff. Good poke. To the outside, and Hughes lets it fly. Blocked down by Montembeault. Struble gets there in the corner. Poke to the near side. Hartman keeps it in. Out in front, Kaprizov. Inside, intercepted as it floats back behind the net. Johansson floats it out to Tarasenko. Back to Johansson. Inside! Blocked down, the rebound controlled by Montreal. And they will clear the zone with 1 minute to go on the penalty. Johansson will start the break in here for the Wild. Johansson goes wide. Now trying to go inside. Bobble in the crease. Johansson turns and fires off a skate. Goes into the corner. Hartman drops it off Faber. Going wide. Hartman now right wing circle. Bobbled on the outside. Montreal takes over. Hudson flips it out. Under 30 seconds to go in the man advantage. Faber gets there for Minnesota. Foligno to the near side, and Spurgeon looking for a center, drops it off for Faber. Inside, Foligno lets it fly just wide. Tipped off of Montembeault. On the wing, Spurgeon. Whipped, good poke. Struble gets it, clears it, and the penalty expires as Montreal kills off the power play for Minnesota. Now, in the Minnesota end, Kapanen turns it over to Urov. Foligno up ahead, back to full strength, the Canadians. Urov inside, Spurgeon denied by Montembeault. No further play. Face-off control by Minnesota. Johansson back to Broden. Trying to flip it to the inside, tipped right back at him. And now Eriksson Ek keeps it into Broden. Broden goes wide, floats it in behind the net, ricochets into the corner. Suzuki gets there for Montreal, pinned along the boards. Eriksson keeps it alive. Johansson breaks free, and he's denied. 4:10 to go. Face-off controlled by Minnesota as they float it on net. And another stoppage with 4:05 to go in the opening period. Face-off controlled by the Wild. Broden lets it fly off a body in front, never got through. Kept in by Spurgeon, and then he turns it over to Caulfield. Montreal exits the zone. Caulfield brings it in. Gets around one man, drops it off for Struble. A shot blocked out in front by Broden. Kept in by Struble. Struble button hooks around, going wide to the inside. Shot blocked down by Gustafsson. And Boldy gets it behind the net. They clear. Errant pass goes all the way through. Icing called. Face-off controlled by Montreal. Hudson to the outside and Bolduc back to Hudson. He lets it fly and Gustafsson finds it. Face-off controlled by Montreal. Gallagher flags it out of the air. Hudson tip try out in front. Blocked down. Into the corner it comes, pinned along the boards. Philip Deneau trying to keep it alive. He can't. And Treinen will exit for Minnesota. Carrier will bring it up for the Canadiens. Surrounded by Wild. Carrier tried to get off a shot. Good stick from behind by Treinen. Kept in by Kapanen. He fires a shot. Blocked down the rebound. Score! Another goal for Montreal in this opening period. And the second for Bolduc. And it's 3-0 Canadiens here on the road. Appreciate it. Let's go Seahawks. Face-off in center, controlled by Minnesota. They trail 3-0 here early in this game at home. What a start for Montreal. Kapanen bobbles, but they get it out. Demidov goes wide as he drops it off to no man's land. Kaprizov gets there for Minnesota. Bogosian off the wall to Kaprizov. Kaprizov goes wide, takes it back behind the net. Back up to the point, and Hughes, one-timer, score! Bogosian puts it in, and the Wild are on the board. Beautiful one-time feed. He had an open lane right down the slot. And from way out on top of the point, he sneaks it past Montembeault. And Minnesota's on the board. Hot start to this opening period here in St. Paul. I am not familiar with the Montreal announcer. I'll have to look him up. Face-off controlled in center. Hinstroza tried to feed it in. Montreal takes it right back away. So we're just over a minute to go in the opening period. We've got 4 goals already. Blaise, good cutoff as he nearly had a jailbreak. Molino keeps it in, back to Blaise in the corner. Floats along the half wall to Matheson, back downstairs to Blaise. Blaise button hooks back to Matheson. Inside, back turns and fires, and Gustafsson says no. 42 seconds to go in the period. Beautiful stop there by Gustafsson. Nobody out in front of him. It was just reaction time, and he snares it out of the air. 42 seconds to go in this opening period. 3-1 Montreal. Face-off control by the Canadiens. Matheson floats it in on net. Faber takes it away, and now Gustafsson just finds the puck. 34 seconds to go here in this fast-paced opening period of play from Minnesota. Face-off controlled by the Canadiens. Lets it fly, does Jack-Eye, and it goes into the corner. Faber gets there for Minnesota. They'll clear the zone with Quinn Hughes off the wall to Hinstroza. Hinstroza into the lane. Fires, stick aside the rebound. Tarasenko out in front, nobody home. Valino gets there, still loose in the slot. Hack and whack in the middle. As the seconds wind down in this opening period of play, Montreal takes a 3-1 lead into the first intermission here in St. Paul, Minnesota. The Wild get on the board after going down 3-0, but it's still 3-1 after one. Here from Minnesota. It is the start of the second period here in Minnesota. Packed to the rooftops, and the Wild fans are watching their team trail by 2. But they have the latest goal in this game after Montreal went off to a 3-0 start. It's now 3-1 as we start the second period. Kaprizov pestered on his way in, keeps it alive and fires a shot blocked down by Montembeault. And Montreal looking to get it out, and they will. Here's Suzuki. Suzuki inside, one-timer denied by Gustafsson. Goes back behind the net. Quinn Hughes clears the zone. Good pass up ahead to Urov. Head of steam as Urov trying to cut inside. Good cutoff by Matheson. Caulfield brings it up here for the Canadiens. Dangles to the inside. And taken away by Minnesota. Here's Kaprizov. He feeds it in deep for the Wild. Zuccarello gets there. Bobbled pass taken away by Montreal. Here's Dobson. Cuts to the inside. Now goes wide. Button hooks back. Here's Matheson. He lets it fly, and it's sticked aside by Gustafsson. Urov gets there for Minnesota. Quinn Hughes back behind the net. Just underway here in the second period. Already off to a fast start as Zuccarello gets crunched. Carrier brings it in for Montreal. Good stick there by Hughes. Faber now. Intercepted on the inside, but kept alive. Faber to the outside. Tarasenko inside and gloved down by Montembeault. Keeps it alive for Carrier. Gallagher intercepted in center by Eriksson Ek. Quinn Hughes, cross-ice pass, Johansson. Bobbles on his way in, goes wide. Inside pass, right on the doorstep, denied by Montembeault. No further play. Face-off in the Montreal end, controlled by the Canadiens. And they just send it up and out of the zone. Nobody touched it, resulting in an icing. 17:25 to go in the second period and a 2-goal Canadian lead. Face-off controlled by Montreal. Demidov works it in his own end. Carrier brings it through neutral ice. Flips it in deep. First guy there is Hinstroza for Minnesota. He's pinned along the boards in the trapezoid. Floats to the far half wall where Broden gets there for the Wild, and they get it out of the zone. Hartman tried to feed it in. He whiffed. Drops it off for Tarasenko. Tried to wrap it around behind the net. Taken away by Montreal. Hudson up ahead. Slafkowski. Kapanen brings it in. Back to Slafkowski. He couldn't get a shot off. Middleton with a good cutoff on the inside. And Minnesota trying to bring it back the other way, and they will. Errant pass goes back into their own end. Bogosian turns back in. Caught in a change is Montreal, but good transition defense as they keep up with it. Back behind the net, Hartman pinned along the boards. Philip Deneau over there for Montreal. Minnesota keeps it in. Bogosian tip try on in front. Never got through. And Montreal gets it in the slot. Bolden floats it to the outside, and Gallagher lets it fly. Stick to side by Gustafson. Goes into the corner. Middleton gets there. Hinstroza clears the zone. Tried to feed it in deep. Whiffed at the red line. And now turns it over in the Montreal end. Struble up ahead to Bolduc, who has 2 goals already tonight. Middleton takes it away from him, and now Gallagher with the takeaway. Gallagher goes wide, fires, Gustafson with the save. 14:55 to go in the second. Face off in the Minnesota end, controlled by the Wild. Broden sends it up ahead. This is Trinan. Drops it off. Spurgeon fires off a body in front. He hit his own guy. And Beck will clear for Montreal. Beck centers. Volino whiffed. Spurgeon takes it away. Here's Foligno. Foligno feeds it in out of play. And we get a stoppage with 14:19 to go in the second period. No goals so far here in the second period. All 4 of our goals have come in the first of this game. It was 3-0 Montreal. Minnesota with the latest to cut it to 3-1. Minnesota wins the faceoff briefly in center before turning it over to the Canadians. Volino brings it up ahead, goes into the slot. Gustafson holds his ground as a stick goes flying as well. 14 minutes left in the second. Face-off control by Montreal. Into the slot. Floats on net. Eriksson gets it before it gets all the way through. And now a 2-on-1 opportunity. Boldy drops it off to no man's land, and they turn it over. One pass too many there for Minnesota. Place gets hit and neutralized. Turns it over to Faber, who's pinned on the boards, and it floats back deep into the Minnesota end. Eriksson up top. Johansson to the near side, and Boldy, who can't handle it, now gets it back. Eriksson left wing circle, whiffed on the shot attempt. Suzuki gets there for Montreal, flips it up and out of the zone. Bobbled on his way in. Beck broke his stick as he tried to get it in. Minor advantage here for Minnesota for a moment. Beck gets a new stick as Johansson brings it up ahead. Matheson with a good defensive play takes it away. Suzuki to the near side. Dobson now brings it through neutral ice. Now Blaise. Blaise lets it fly. Gustafson blocks it down into the corner. Quinn Hughes. Stretch pass to Tarasenko. He loses it in neutral ice. Hughes keeps it alive. Zuccarello goes wide. Now trying to cut inside. Good play by Demidov. And now here comes Montreal back the other way. Good poke on his way in by Bogosian. Broden can't handle it. Texier back into the zone. Demidov into the slot. Hit the broken stick. And that might have saved Minnesota right on the doorstep. It hit the stick again. And Minnesota might have got bailed out by a broken stick laying on the ice as it floats deep into the Montreal end. Demidov gets hit. Turns it over. Bogosian keeps it in. Sends it in. Tipped around in the slot. Goes back behind the net. Caulfield gets there for Montreal. And Carrier gets it out of the zone. Goes all the way back. Bogosian gets there for the Wild. Takes a hit. Long time without a whistle here as another turnover happens in neutral ice. Bolduc will bring it in. He turns it over to Trinan. Broden to the outside, and Trinan working it on the far side, tried to feed it in. And Hudson takes it away for Montreal. They've gone a long time without a whistle. Long turn as Demidov brings it in. Goes back behind the net, taken away by Bogosian. Approaching the halfway point of this second period, still 3-1, offsides on Minnesota. Finally a stoppage with 10:06 to go in the period. Face off in center, controlled by Montreal. Demidov gets pestered as Slabkowski brings it in. Centering pass intercepted by Quinn Hughes. He turns it back over. Kept in by Struble. Drops it off. A shot off a body in front. Kept in and out of the zone. Montreal will have to reset. Struble circles back in for the Canadiens. Trying to drop it off. Good stick by Hughes. Faber gets hit along the boards. Floats out of the zone. Urov is there for Minnesota. He goes wide. Trying to cut into the inside. Stays alive and couldn't get it through. Good defense on the inside by Montreal. Kapanen now brings it up. Centering pass taken away. And Foligno turns back for Minnesota. Foligno gets hit on his way in. Kapanen now up ahead for Montreal. Centering pass and blocked down off the glove side of Gustafsson. Goes into the corner. Johansson gets it for Minnesota. He clears the zone. Up ahead to Boldy. Stays on sides. Boldy to the inside. Foligno on net. Kicked away by Montembeault. And Montreal brings it out. A big hit delivered by Minnesota. Hartman to the near side. Bogosian brings it back into the zone. Cuts inside. Bogosian downstairs. Whipped as he pokes to the near side. Eriksson keeps it alive. Tried to send it to the inside on net. And Montembeault stops play with 7:48 to go in the period. Very fast-paced second period here in St. Paul. .48 to go in the period. Face-off here in the Montreal end. Controlled by the Canadiens. Dobson exits the zone. Tried to send it to the inside to Deneau. He couldn't handle it. Minnesota takes over with 7.5 to go in the period. Middleton drops it off. And Stroh's shot denied by Montembeault. 7:21 to go. Another face-off here in the Montreal end. Controlled by the Wild. Middleton lets it fly. Tip try out in front. Loose puck in the slot. Controlled by the Canadiens. And Bolduc will clear the zone. Working on a 2-goal night. Bogosian takes it away from him. Middleton turns it over. Gallagher kept it in. And a stop by Gustafsson. 6:56 to go. Face-off controlled not very cleanly by the Wild. Tarasenko pinned on the boards. Canadiens keep it in. And Faber cuts it off before he could get out. And now a jailbreak opportunity. Tarasenko on the net. And Montembeault denies him as he was pestered on his way into the slot. Now Beck on the other side. Goes wide and Hughes with a good stick turns it over. On the near side, this is Urov. Cuts inside. Urov shot. Broke down. Penalty called. It's on Montreal, and we get a power play here for Minnesota. Noah Dobson called for the trip. So a man advantage here for Minnesota. They're 0 for 1 on the power play tonight. And a chance to get back in this game, back within 1 with the man advantage here in the second. Face-off controlled by the Wild. Kept in by Faber. Inside Eriksson can't handle it. Canadiens gain control and Philip Deneau clears the zone. Zuccarello will start the break in here for the Wild. Going wide. Inside pass to Boldy. He fires and saved by Montembeault. No further play. Minute 28 to go on the penalty. Hartman will face off against Suzuki here in the Canadiens' end, controlled by Montreal. Jackeye gets crunched, but he feeds it up to Suzuki, who clears the zone. Sends it deep into the Minnesota end. Quinn Hughes there for the Wild. Here's Kaprizov. Off the boards to Tarasenko. Tarasenko, inside pass, Hartman, downstairs, Johansson, denied by Montembeault. Kept in by Hughes. Tarasenko turns back inside, tip try out in front. Jack-Eye takes it away, and Montreal clears the zone once again, under a minute to go on the penalty. This one deflects on net, and Gustafsson will just stop play with 43 seconds to go on the man advantage. Face-off controlled by Montreal. Matheson back to Carrier, short-handed for the Canadiens. Matheson, good poke. Carrier gets back to prevent danger, and he flips it up and out. Under 30 seconds to go in the power play here for Minnesota. Zuccarello with a bobble in his own end, feeds it to the near side in favor. One final push on this penalty here for Minnesota. Eriksson Ek back to Bolding. Bolding lets it fly, and a save by Montembeault. 6 seconds left on the penalty here for the Wild. Face off in the Montreal end, controlled by Minnesota. Hughes fires off a body, hit his own player as the penalty expires. Minnesota now 0 for 2 on the power play here tonight. Danault brings it up, back to full strength, the Canadiens inside, on the doorstep, denied by Gustafsson. 3:54 to go. Face-off control by Montreal. Hudson squares it up, and Gustafsson finds that one. 3:47 to go. Face-off again, controlled by the Canadiens. Texier lets it fly. What a stop by Gustafsson. And another stoppage with 3:42 to go. Gustafsson holding his ground. Take a look at this save. Somehow just snared it out of the air. Man. So Gustafsson doing his best to keep Minnesota in this game as a scoreless second period rolls on. All of our goals in this game came in the first. Carrier inside, intercepted by Trinan. Here he comes for Minnesota. Trinan floats it towards the corner. First guy there is Carrier for the Canadiens. Texier will exit. He gets hit at the red line, kept alive by Caulfield. That looked like an offsides, no whistle. Into the slot, poked to the far side. Broden gets there for Minnesota. We play on. Foligno intercepted in the center by Suzuki. Hudson picks up the loose change for Montreal, and he feeds it in. Broden back behind his own net, feeds it up ahead to Sturm, who flips it out of play. 2:42 to go in the period. Still 3-1 Canadiens. Face-off controlled by Montreal. Back up ahead of the pack. Goes wide and trying to get off a shot. Good stick by Middleton. Middleton gets hit hard behind the play. Foligno takes over for Montreal. To the near side, and Beck flips it in. Deep into the Minnesota end. Middleton, first guy to it, crunched along the boards. Kicks it to the far half wall. There is Bogosian. Kaprizov spins off of traffic. And now up ahead, Urov. Fires a shot, blocked down by Montembeault. Minute 52 to go in the period. Face-off control by Montreal. Dobson can't clear the zone. Good cutoff by Kaprizov. Kept in. Middleton fires, save as it goes into the corner. Dobson crunched along the boards. Floats along the far half wall. Kapanen there for Montreal. He exits. Kapanen inside, now outside. Slafkovsky fires, saved by Gustafsson. Davidov gets there. Kept in. Struble. Struble tipped behind the net. Urov gets there for Minnesota, out of the zone. And now a turnover. Kaprizov inside. Zuccarello denied by Montalban. 57 seconds to go in the period. Face-off control by Minnesota. Faber lets it fly off a body in front. Struble now for Montreal. 46 seconds to go in the period. Inside, Demidov shot, blocker down by Gustafsson. Faber gets the rebound into the corner. He comes up with a head of steam. Cross-size pass. Offsides, Tarasenko. 31 seconds to go in the period. Face-off in center, controlled by Minnesota. Under 30 seconds to go in the period. Gallagher with a good poke check. And here's Philip Deneau. Deneau drops it off. Bolduc looking for the hat trick, and it's denied by Gustafsson. Into the corner it goes. Hughes pinned along the boards. Back behind the net as the final seconds wind down in this period. Hartman sends it all the way down on net, just wide of the net. And it's sticked aside to end the period. A scoreless second period here in Minnesota after a full 4-goal first. And we enter the third period with the Wild losing at home 3-1 in favor of Montreal. We are ready to start the third period here in St. Paul. It's 3-1 our score. Montreal with the lead. Minnesota looking to put in a comeback effort here at home. And we are underway for the third and final period. Errant pass goes all the way through, no icing. Faber gets hit hard behind his own net. Suzuki feeds it up, and Faber will exit the zone up ahead. Zuccarello. He's pucked on his way in. Caulfield takes it away from behind. Texier. He gets pestered on his way in. Minnesota gains control. Zuccarello cuts inside. Kaprizov drops it off. Bobble. And taken away by Dobson. Suzuki, now Caulfield. Caulfield floats it in. Faber gets knocked down. Zuccarello over to pick up the loose change, and Faber gains control in the corner. Here's Quinn Hughes. He brings it up ahead. Centering pass. A shot blocked down by Montalban. Back behind the net, Suzuki gets there for Montreal, and they'll clear the zone. Texier brings it in here for the Canadiens. Sends it around the boards to Caulfield behind the net. Back to the wing, Matheson. Poked into the corner. Matheson poked on his way back behind the net. Caulfield keeps it alive on the point carrier. Now Kapanen broke his stick on his way in. On the doorstep, Matheson denied. Gustafsson keeps it out. And now a broken stick on the ice as Minnesota brings it on the other way. Tarasenko denied on the doorstep by Montalban. Goes into the corner. Tarasenko keeps it alive. One-timer tipped around, and Montalban sprawls out to find the puck. 17:34 to go in this third period. And Minnesota had an excellent chance there. Montalban has been excellent in between the pipes here for Montreal tonight, giving up just the one goal towards the end of that first period. Face-off controlled by Minnesota. Spurgiano on the line, fires one wide of the net. Eriksson gets there behind the net. On the wing, Boldy button hooks back. Broden up top, fires off the goal post. Rebound denied by Montalban. And Montreal gets it out. And now on the other end, Slavkovsky drops it off for Hudson, who flips it in deep. Demidov circles, fires, save, rebound denied by Gustafsson. Goes into the corner. Johansson pinned along the boards. Floats out, Demidov whiffed. And Minnesota will get it out. Montreal takes over and neutral ice. Philip Deneau goes wide. Deneau on the doorstep, score! Hudson puts it in, and Montreal takes a 4-1 lead. Beautiful feed by Philip Deneau down low. And the Canadiens strike again here on the road. What a feed right in between the blue paint. Not a lot of wiggle room there out in front, and Deneau found the open lane. And it's 4-1 Montreal as Hudson puts it in. Treinen brings it up for Minnesota, floats it in on net. Montembeault with an easy stick save. Middleton takes over a neutral ice for Minnesota. He turns it immediately over. Here's Bolduc, who's got a 2-goal night. Going wide, looking for a center. Drops it off, errant pass, goes all the way back. Montembeault out of net to settle it down for Gallagher. He gets pestered and turns it over. Kept in by Middleton. Lets it fly, tipped, and snared by Montembeault. 15:35 to go in the third. 3-goal lead for Montreal. Take a look at Lane Hudson, who's been letting it fly all night long, and then he finally gets his goal on the beautiful feed by Deneau moments ago. And here that is right here. The tightest of holes to get that pass in. Beautiful assist there by Deneau. Face-off controlled by Minnesota. Bogosian fires, blocked down by Montembeault. No further play. What up, Lind? Face-off controlled by Minnesota. Middleton keeps it in. Bogosian on the wing. Out in front, Tarasenko bobbled in the slot. And Montreal survives. Blaise brings it up for the Canadiens. Going wide. Blaise tried to send it to the inside. Middleton intercepts that one. And now here come the Wild. Hartman cuts inside. Takes it into the slot. And right on the doorstep, it's still loose. And Montembeault somehow finds the puck. 14:48 to go in the third. And Montembeault continues to be a brick wall. Oh, right there, just wide was Hinstroza, and Montembeault somehow found it to keep it out once again. Face-off coming here in the Montreal end. 3-goal lead for the Canadiens. Face-off controlled into the slot by Montreal. And Demidov will bring it up and out here for the Canadiens. Cross-ice pass, bobbled. Kapanen keeps it alive. He fires, and Gustafsson gloves it down. 14:26 to go in the period. Face-off control by the Canadiens. Dobson intercepted by Hinstroza. And now taken away by Matheson in neutral ice. Demidov circles back in, centering pass, bobbled, and on net, Gustafsson finds the puck. 14:05 to go in the third. Face-off this time controlled by Minnesota in their own end, and they'll get it out with Zuccarello leading the charge. Inside, Urov fires off a skate out in front. Deflects to Kaprizov. Up top, Quinn Hughes blocked beautifully as it goes back into neutral ice. Faber chases it down for the Wild. Urov circles back in. Centering pass to Kaprizov, can't handle it. And Montreal turns it over in neutral ice to Quinn Hughes. Floats it up to Urov. Back in Minnesota. Urov centering pass. Kaprizov just wide. Goes back behind the net. Zuccarello out in front. Loose in the slot. Floats to the near side. Montreal gets there. And they continue to block the lanes for Minnesota. Suzuki outside. Slavkovsky inside. Intercepted by Zuccarello. Urov pestered from behind. Turns it over to Velino. He gets hit hard right in front of the boards. Faber lets it fly, and it's clubbed down out of the air by Montalban. 12:29 to go in the third. Face-off control by Minnesota. On the attack, trying to get it into the slot. Good defense by Montreal. Now Minnesota keeps it in. Trinan whiffed on the shot attempt, poked from behind. Minnesota keeps it in again. This one off a body. Loose puck in the slot. Still loose, and it goes back behind the net. Philip Deneau gets there for Montreal. Pindle on the boards on the near side. Minnesota keeps it in. Inside pass deflects back out. Spurgeon lets it fly. Tip to the outside. Trinan gets there. Back behind the net again in the trapezoid. Montreal gets to the puck again, and they get out of the zone. Bolduc pestered on his way in, turns it over to Spurgeon. Foligno bobbles in the inside, deflects to Spurgeon. Now back to Sturm, turns it over to Gallagher. Gallagher crunched on his way in. Foligno intercepted, kept in by Suzuki. He fires up the blocker of Gustafsson. Goes into the corner. Broden Pindle on the board. Suzuki turns it over to Foligno. And here comes Foligno. Takes it in back behind the net, looking for a center, and it's denied by Montalban. Wow. He has been a brick wall in between the pipes tonight. And another good try there for Minnesota, shut down by the Canadiens goaltender. Face-off coming here in the Montreal end, controlled by the Wild. Middleton up top, Bogassian on the wing. Boldy tried to spin and fire, and he couldn't get it through. Montreal clears the zone again, up ahead Caulfield. Caulfield tried to get off a shot, Bogassian cuts him off. Johansson brings it up for Minnesota, centers himself to the inside, to the outside, and Boldy. Out in front, Johansson couldn't handle it. Back to Boldy. Up top, Bogassian can't handle it, and it goes out of the zone. And they've just feed it in deep. Over halfway through this third period in a 3-goal game. A turnover. Hartman puts it in deep. Hartman back behind the net looking for a center. Couldn't get a pass off. Penalty called. This one on Minnesota. Extra skater in for the moment for Montreal. Minnesota touches it. And a power play upcoming for the Canadiens. It's Hartman for interference. Let's take a look. Working back behind the net with Caulfield. And Hartman, I don't know. That was kind of a generous penalty there for the Canadiens, but they'll take it. First power play of the night for Montreal. Looking to extend their lead and potentially put this game on ice. Face-off coming here in the Minnesota end, controlled by the Canadiens. One-timer, denied by Gustafsson. The rebound, controlled by Minnesota. Now a turnover right in front. Another block by Gustafsson. Suzuki gets knocked down, and Minnesota backtracks in their own end. Trinan will bring it up short-handed for the Wild. He gets crunched but keeps it alive. Trinan flips it in deep. Bolduc gets there for Montreal. Back up top to Blaise. Dobson inside, Beck. Deflected over the top of the net. Back behind Faber. And Stroza now for the Wild. Feeds it in. To the near half wall. Kept in control by Faber for a moment until Foligno takes it away for Montreal. Under a minute to go on the power play. Foligno brings it up, going wide. Stops on a dime. Foligno inside, poked away by Gustafsson. Faber now sends it up to Sturm, short-handed the Wild. Inside Hinstroza, good stick by Hudson. Sturm intercepts in neutral ice. And now Hudson gains control for Montreal. Here he comes. Inside pass disrupted by Broden. 27 seconds to go in the power play. Minnesota up short-handed. Sturm gets crunched, keeps it alive. Sturm fires, saved by Montalban. 13 seconds to go on the penalty. One final push here for the Canadiens. Demidov takes it into the slot, poked to the far side. Final seconds wind down on the penalty. Broden gets there for Minnesota, and the Wild kill off the power play. Kaprizov fires, sticked aside by Montalban. Goes to the far side. Kaprizov Pindle on the boards by Demidov. Caulfield gets there, now Hudson. Philip Deneau button hooks back, turns it over to Boldy. Now Bogosian up top to Hughes. Lets it fly, tipped wide. Philip Deneau gets there in the corner for the Canadiens. Turned over again, Bogosian. Back up to the point. Hughes fires, blocked out in front beautifully. Going down to a knee was Demidov. And Montreal will get it out of the zone again. Hudson poked at the red line. Hughes pestered by Deneau. Up to Eriksson Ek. Fires a shot, stick to side by Montembeault. Floats back behind the net for Johansson. Back up to the point. Fires, tipped and blocked by Montembeault. Comes into the corner. Eriksson Ek back behind the net. No one home. Hudson gets there for Montreal and gets it out. Turns it immediately over to Hughes. Now another turnover. Texier. Up top, Demidov. Fires towards the net. Gustafsson sticks it aside. 5.5 to go in the game. 3-goal lead for Montreal. Hudson crunched at the top of the slot. Kept alive by Demidov. Into the slot. Poked away by Minnesota. And Hughes gets there and will get it out. Eriksson Ek up ahead. Eriksson Ek tried to center it. Bobbled on his way in. Taken away by the Canadiens once again. Philip Deneau feeds it in around the boards. Under 5 minutes to go in the game. Minnesota running out of time. Johansson, cross-ice pass, Eriksson Ek. Drops it off for Boldy. Inside. And couldn't get a shot up. Bogosian fires. Gloved down by Montembeault. 4:35 to go in regulation and a 3-goal Montreal lead. Face-off controlled by the Canadiens in their own end. Matheson brings it up himself. Matheson poked away by Bogosian, who takes it away. Kaprizov to the far side, penalty called. This one on the Canadiens. Yurov to Zuccarello, extra skater in. Kaprizov blocked down, and the whistle. 4:04 to go in the third, and a power play here for Minnesota. It's a hold on the Canadiens. So Kapanen will go to the penalty box. Minnesota 0 for 2 tonight on the power play. Looking to get back within 2 here in the final 5 minutes. Face-off controlled by Montreal, and Carrier gets hit hard as he gets pinned along the boards. Minnesota desperately trying to keep it in the zone as it floats to the far side. Matheson gets hit behind the net. Montreal working it in their own end. Carrier now picks up the loose change, and Montreal gets it out. Gallagher poked in neutral ice, turns it over. Tarasenko brings it in for Minnesota. Squares up, drops it off, intercepted by Beck, and he clears the zone. Minute 20 and counting on the penalty, 3:20 in the game. Up ahead, Tarasenko. Waits for help to come. Tarasenko gets hammered on his way in. Wow, what a hit. Tarasenko lost his stick. He'll float to the bench as he got absolutely leveled on his way into the zone, and Montreal clears with 50 seconds on the man advantage. Now a turnover. Into the corner, Suzuki kicks it. Eriksson Ek takes it away from Minnesota. Here he comes back the other way with Zuccarello. Zuccarello inside, intercepted by Gallagher. Suzuki clears for Montreal. Under 30 seconds to go on the man advantage. Eriksson Ek bobbles on his way in. Tried to keep it alive, but can't. Jackie turns it over back to Eriksson Ek. Final seconds wind down on this penalty. One final push for Minnesota. Zuccarello to Boldy, who can't handle it. Montreal kills off another penalty. And Minnesota 0 for 3 on the power play. Gustafsson flips it outside to Zuccarello. We're under 2 minutes to go in the game. Boldy feeds it in for the Wild. Demidov lost it on the stick on the ground. Turns it over to Minnesota. Hughes inside. Boldy off the skate out in front. Eriksson Ek pinned against the boards in the corner. Demidov gets there for Montreal. Matheson floats it over. And the Canadiens get it out, but Minnesota gains control and neutral ice. We're approaching the 1 minute mark to go here in regulation. Neighbor outside, Zuccarello turns it over. A shot blocked down by Gustafsson. Goes into the corner. We're under a minute to go. We'll see if Gustafsson empties the net here, but now they turn it over And he's pinned along the boards, trying and escapes. Hughes brings it up off the body out in front, and it looks like Minnesota's going to concede this game as they are not having Gustafsson empty the net. Hughes up ahead to Zuccarello. Fires, save, Montalban. What a night for Montalban in between the pipes. 31 seconds to go in this game, in what is going to be a Montreal victory here on the road in Minnesota. Turnover. Zuccarello fires, blocked beautifully out in front. And Demidov will clear for the Canadiens. Kaprizov takes it away for the Wild. Final seconds wind down as he fires on net. Denied by Montalban. And Montreal will get it out. 11 seconds in the game. Fed in deep as the time winds down in this one. Kaprizov settles it in their own end, and that is going to do it. The Montreal Canadiens come into Minnesota and dominate this game defensively. What a performance in between the pipes by Montalban. Gave up just the one goal towards the end of the first period, and Minnesota just couldn't get it done when it mattered most. The Canadiens win it 4-1 here in St. Paul. It was an excellent performance on defense for the Canadiens, as Minnesota just couldn't keep offensive zone time alive. 4-1 the final. Montreal takes it as we inch closer to the Olympic Games. Heading towards the break here in the NHL season, Montreal gets it done here in St. Paul, Minnesota. Good night. Land, we're going to do the Super Bowl later in the week. Let's see. I haven't set when I'm going to do it yet. Let me look. Let me take a gander. We'll probably do it kind of closer to the actual game. What up, Tankinator? Probably do it closer to the weekend. Tomorrow I'll probably do another hockey game. I'll tell you what, Lind, how about when I figure out when I'm going to do it, I'll schedule a stream. That way you can just look and see when it's scheduled for. And then I'll do it around then. Because I don't know when exactly I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it probably later in the week. Yeah, tomorrow I'll probably do hockey again. I'll probably do Maple Leafs Oilers tomorrow. Wednesday, Thursday. I'll probably do it on Friday or Saturday, to be honest with you. Get us closer to the game. Make us not have to wait as long for the real thing. All right, I'm out. Have a good night.